Everyone, thanks for tuning back in. I know there's been a delay in the video, and that was me trying to perfect something, and then I just took the moment. I was like, I'm just going to be authentic, as I always am. So if you haven't noticed, but with my videos, they're one cut, they're raw. Sometimes I do retakes, but that's not the case in this moment. I'm just going to shoot it straight. So whatever this is, this is. The video of this title, or the title of this video, is called Startups, Successes, and Failures. I started grinding when I was like very young, delivering newspapers and doing things like that, typical entrepreneurial spirit, whatnot. As I got older, you start working jobs, helping friends' businesses and stuff like that, and you realize, like, I don't want to be caught in this modern day slavery. That really led me to the path of entrepreneurship. So, to not get too far into details, but I hustled and I grinded. And I built up companies and whatever it was, trades, things that you're doing. You know, in the hustle, you could sit here and take it as you may, but 2-3 years of just grinding, barely getting by, and then third year, it's like it just starts to take off and life becomes prosperous. Life becomes beautiful, and you're like, oh wow, my rent is taken care of in that day, or like things like that, and just allows you to build and have this sense of easement to you. Through that hustling, I always was curious about stocks and investment, looking at them growing up, especially through high school. I was like, damn, there's a lot of value here. This is, like you put your money in something, it grows, and there's fluctuations in the market, which you can get into deep conversations about that. But I was like, this is where I want to get into. So you started trading mining companies and things like that, and then eventually I got into the cannabis industry, which was at that time was against regulations and was very skeptical. Same with cryptocurrency, which this leads into, but so I invested. I was like a person who would smoke pot. I was like, this is, it's big. It's like people go buy a 2-4 of alcohol, meaning 24 beers, and it's like $30-$40 at the time. Now it's $60-$65. I was like, people can smoke a quarter of weed, $60, in a day. I was like, this is a no-brainer, and the plant, it just grows. Like, you have good production. Obviously it takes a bit of money to start up, but I don't think the production process is as difficult as beer, but hey, that's here nor there. I was like, okay, so I did really well on those, and it allowed me to fulfill my passions, and 6 months later, a year later, like a $2,000 investment would be $50,000, or as the market and trend started increasing, you put $5,000 in, later it's $50,000. I was like, oh, this is amazing. And that's what always kind of hooked me about entrepreneurship and investing and believing in things and seeing further down the sight. So between hustling, got into golds and silvers, the bullion, precious metals, investing into cannabis, other drug companies, so Canopy, MindMed were really big ones. And then I got really curious about crypto. I kept hearing wonderful things about it. I had known about Bitcoin when it was $35 when I was 17, but I didn't have 2 nickels to rub together at that time. I was just getting by, paycheck to paycheck. And I was like, okay. So, as I got older, I wanted to get into blockchain, and then coincidentally enough, which manifestation, my neighbor across the way had 2 dogs. I had a dog at the time, eventually 2 dogs, and we'd walk our dogs, started talking about cryptocurrency, and then just these 30, 40, 50 X's. So I took 9 months from coming from a stock background to enter this, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I got into cryptocurrency, bought into a swap and BNB. So ApeSwap BNB was doing LP farms, which means you buy one token and buy another, you pair them together, you make interest on it. They both fluctuate in price. You obviously hope that they go up, but sometimes one goes down or both go down, and it creates an impermanent loss is what it's called. So more on that later, but liquidity farming. And then through months and months throughout it, I was like, okay, I'm buying into these false promises, or there's people tell me they're going to do something, the development's not there. You're basically buying like a startup stock, and they're like, hey, we're going to go do this, and sometimes they do, most of the time they don't. So you start like catching on to like, oh, this is most likely a scam, or like they're not being as truthful as they want to, or hey, they're just not going to fulfill their promises they're telling themselves and telling others. So got into the cryptocurrency industry, made a meme coin, because I told people, like the one I was investing in, we're on a voice chat, I was like, this thing's gonna rogue, meaning they're gonna pull all the money from it, and investors are gonna be left, with empty pockets. got told by the developers at that particular coin, I was like, no, this guy, he's bullshitting you. So anyways, next day, log in, see a bunch of people messaging me like, hey man, like, they rugged us. And I was like, I tried to save you, man. I wasn't trying to be, dishonest. Like, I truly want the best for around me. And that's what kind of kickstarted my group, the Rug Cartel. And then from that, we made Gremlins and had a bunch of success in that and a bunch of downfalls. Like, learned a lot from business partners you choose, having difference of opinions, how to conduct it. And yeah, I don't look at that as terrible. It was actually a great learning experience, and definitely rode these waves through life, which allowed me to travel and get to different places in the world to grow and, be here present now. So that being said, the startups I've had is creating my own business, my own investment in myself, and a crypto project. So I'm taking those three, merging them together, and that's what I'm building. So this channel is kind of like a dedication to watch me go through that, offer value for people, and just lay it out here like I'm doxed, here's my information, here it is, here's my face, here's my emotion. You can watch it all. You can go back in history, check it out, see the storyline evolve into what it is, where it's at, and that's the beauty of the channel. So yeah, startups and failures and successes and failures. I always say failure multiplied equals success, right? The people that have been through pain, traumas, like, you make those mistakes and you learn not to do it again, right? You blow up your account, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. You're like, okay, don't do that again. Could have done this, could have done that. But in that, you realize, like, this will most likely never happen again, or I will take preventative measures to not have this happen. So once again, I appreciate you tuning in. What's next to come is a couple more videos of descriptions, and I'm working on building the Swarm website. So get that up, start, creating the vision, putting it out there. And I always thank the subs that we have, the viewers, the people, and more so this is just documenting my journey on this vision. So as always, appreciate your time, best of luck, you create your reality out there. Adios amigos, till next time.